Welcome back to the Joseph Graham Show. Katie and I were talking, and I realized I hadn't hit record and she's dropping bombs. So I wanted to kind of start and just slow down the plane a little bit because we were already talking about a bunch of different cool things we could do. But Katie, you know what, again, I've said this 4 times now in 250 episodes. I normally don't accept invites, but I looked at your stuff and I was like, oh no, she's going to be fun. So we'll have a blast. So, Katie Nelson, tell people who you are, what you do, and your favorite animal. I just threw that one out for no reason.
You know what, Joe? Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be accepted as you know, an invitation, like a guest. Um, and my favorite animal is my recently deceased dog, Rockstar. I'll send you a
Aw.
picture so you can send him to the viewers. He was our favorite, and we've had lots. But so he's currently my favorite. Although when I go on safari later this year, you never know. It could be an ibex or a zebra. We'll find out.
Nice.
Yeah. And then a little bit about me. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called, and this will surprise apparently none of your listeners, Sales UpRising. I own a company called Sales UpRising, Joe. That's what I do. That's who I am. Let's make more money.
Mhm. No, I love that. Well, and here's the thing. Full disclosure, I'm a big animal person. My wife met her best friend outside of me because I talked to the dog first. Literally
See?
ignored the human, talked to the dog. We have 6 dogs. I have 5 pugs and a black lab. So super sad that your puppy passed. That actually makes me sadder than some humans passing. That's not nice, I know, but there's
I
sometimes.
So hashtag same. And even weirder, it's the first time in over 2 decades my husband and I haven't had a dog in the house. Like we're just, for those of you who are pet owners, like they're either those pet owners that one goes and there's a new one in the house immediately, or like they go and you like just have to wait for the space to do it again. And so that's kind of where we're at. We're just waiting for the right space to be able to do it again because he was such a big part of our lives.
Yeah. Or you'll be like my wife and one's about to go, so she gets 4 more. I told her no. We had 7 for a moment. I'm like, I love pugs. Funny story, her friend gave her the dogs because she couldn't, like, she got a pug and we're pug people. So if you need a new dog to try out, pugs are amazing.
My
Um,
mom had a pug.
oh, so you understand, either you love them or you don't. There's no in between with those dogs. They're just crazy. But yeah, gave us the 4 pugs. We were supposed to give 2 to the pug rescue. We lived in DFW and keep 2. We have 5 people in the family, and guess what? Everyone picked a different one.
Hey,
So they're not
sometimes it
allowed to go
just
to the
works
shelter
out that
now.
way. I get that. I agree with that.
People are like, wait a minute, we're talking about sales uprising, you're talking about pugs. Yeah. Key number 1, connect with your client. This is what we're doing right now. We just found something that we're the same thing on. But this is not me talking. This is Katie talking. So with sales uprising and all, where did you even get that name? Because I'm like a medieval fantasy type of dude. Like you see books behind me. I have a lot of business books, but then you see medieval and fancy stuff. That uprising is a little bit of a unique name. So where did that come from?
Thank you for noticing, sir. So the business will turn 9 years old this year, later this month. And it's my third business, but it's the first one I've owned on my own. So I went to some good friends who are all about the branding and the marketing and had them run me through the ringer of like, what would this be called? And one of the stories that I've had forever and a day is every time I've ever gone to work for anybody, they've always said, so what do you want to be called? What do you want it to say on your business card? And I always said sales chick because I was always in a sales capacity. That is literally what they hired me for. And they always said, oh, no, 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 no. We don't, that's not how our clients identify you. So it's an account executive or a business development executive or client development executive, you know, all these
Yeah.
big words for sales. And I was like, okay, so it was really important to me to have the word sales up front and center. Oh, those of you who know, the word sales is like looking at the Mona Lisa. You either love it or you hate it. You have good feelings or bad. It's like any piece of art, the word sales. And then if you can close your eyes and think about like Main Street America, mom and pops who are serious about what they deliver and they have such gumption and passion to do what they do, but they're literally stopped when it comes to their sales process, whether that's because they're brand new and they're afraid and they don't know, or whether it's because they've grown so much that they hit a plateau and they don't know how to eclipse their revenue from the next year. Like, I want them to take pitchforks and fire, and I want them to go in that medieval way, like very, and just go at it. Like, kill those demons that say sales is bad, eradicate the fear, and just continue to have a sales uprising. That's what I want.
No, I love that. So my mind goes here. What even got you into sales then? Because there's two camps. Either there's a person they were born a salesperson, or they're like me that actually freaking fell into like I still was selling stuff when I was younger, but I didn't plan on being a salesperson. I literally fell into a sales job and I was like, holy shit, I just made $1,000 in a week and I was making $1,000 in 2 weeks. And I'm like, wait a minute, something who didn't tell me about this? So how
Right.
did you even get into sales?
So the I grew up in a family of four. We were a blended family in the 80s around the oak dinner table amongst the two parents in my household who own their own businesses. All I heard was like how crappy owning a business was. And they weren't saying it was crappy. They were saying, how am I going to pay the foreman if this contract doesn't come through? It was just wildly stressful and indigestion inducing. So I think looking back on it, I probably went into sales because I was like, you know what people need? They just need people to sell for them, and then their dreams
Mhm.
can come true, and their kids can eat without digestion. Uh, but it probably looks more like, as the third kid of four, not wanting to have to ask my parents for movie money, I
Mhm.
found a job at a call center halfway between my high school and my house. Sold my first sales gig, not really, but really, was to my parents to say, I can do school and have a job
Mhm.
and go make my own money and be independent. So that
I'm I'm only laughing because, and I've never reviewed this on the show, but when I was 16, my parents were moving a lot, so I switched to homeschooling. So I wasn't a sales job, but I was working for a storage facility and making, and this is in the early 90s, because I was 96. So I'm making like 250, 300 bucks a week as a 16-year-old. I'm like, I'm balling. This is great. Now I'm like, if I make 250 bucks a week, I'm hurting. But at the time, you're 16, you're living at home. I was like, oh, but it's funny to see the little path because like I got to a certain age, my parents like, we only buy X. And I'm like, well, I don't want just X. I want this pair of jeans and that. And like, well, go get it. And it wasn't, I didn't come from parents at that time that were business owners. They were actually, they started as factory workers, but then worked their way up and then became like managers of storage facilities and stuff. And the American dream built a better life and
yep.
give me like, well, wait a minute. If they can change, I can change. But that was just funny, the correlation. Because when I'm talking to sales professionals or super like high achievers, there's always that we're the oddballs, and I love it. Like I'm a disruptor on purpose. I don't follow the rules. In fact, my favorite statement is if is not to. If I don't challenge my beliefs, are they really mine? But yeah, no, I love that. So you're in sales. How old were you at this time?
15 and a half. It's the legal age you can go to work. We won't
Yeah, yeah.
talk about my under the table jobs, which were not sales jobs. Um,
Right.
but yeah, so 15 and a half is when I got my first job, and I was part-time at a call center where you sell stuff. And I remember they handed me a script in the old, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have your teams learn from scripts, it is a lost art. This was like a tome, and it had 15 of the most frequently given objections and like three objections deep. I mean, how we were taught to sell in that environment was wild. And they gave me credit card insurance programs to sell. And I read through the documentation and I went to the manager and I
Mm.
said, Sir, uh, I don't even know what this is. Like, I'm not eligible for a credit card. I feel like this is wildly wrong. I don't know what any of this means. I don't really know the impact of this. I can't get behind this. So think of like a girl in drama class, which I was
Mhm.
also in high school, 5 blocks away, going, I need to connect with my character, right? Like, so I'm holding up this
Oh, I
insurance,
love
credit card
this.
insurance scam script, like,
Uh-huh.
so you know what I ended up selling? They're like, okay, you know what? You're right. Because I'm the youngest kid in there. Everybody is like I had thought they were in their 50s, but they were probably in their 30s. They wear polyester. This is back in the day where you still can smoke in an office. So they had a smoking room, like to take people way, way back. So I'm a couple years older than Joe. So this is also in the early 90s, but I graduated in 93. So yeah, so this picture it. So they
Mhm.
went back into like the warehouse of scripts of things that they had to sell and ultimately ended up selling book clubs to like stay-at-home moms. It was amazing.
Mhm.
I killed at that job. You made 300 bucks or 250, I made 425 bucks every 2 weeks,
Mhm.
on average as
But
this.
93, that was a lot of money.
That's
And
dough, man. And you're
yeah.
15. What am I going to do with it? All I wanted to do was be able to go to the dollar movie theater. So.
Mhm. Oh, you have a dollar movie theater. See, the millennials right now are losing their minds. You had a dollar movie theater? Yeah. You could smoke? Yeah. There were so many things we did
I
beforehand.
know.
We're Generation X. We had so much crazy shit we did. I do swear a little bit on this. I forgot to tell you that. On in our childhood that I'm glad was not recorded. I know certain things I did that if it was recorded, I would probably not be sitting here talking to you at the moment.
I believe you. I believe that to be true. My childhood was also not recorded.
It
I
just,
mean,
it just,
outside
it
of those
cracks me up.
Polaroids that we all burned after we got
Oh yeah,
married and things.
yeah. Yeah. Well, my wife kept one or two, and then she finally got rid of her goofy boyfriend she had before me. I go, yeah, well, they were losers. I won. I don't care.
There you go.
And we celebrated 24 years last week. Yeah,
Oh,
or 2 weeks ago.
congratulations.
Sorry, July 21st, our anniversary. I looked at the date, but yeah,
Time. Time is mutable. My husband and I will celebrate 22 years at the end of this year.
nice. No, that's cool. Yeah, it's finding the right person. So I'm going to shift here because I don't do this with you, but I'm liking. We'll get to sales. We talk sales here, but the thoughts behind it, the mental magic behind it, to me is really where it's made. Um, how supportive was your husband? You're married to a man, right?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. I just always
I
double check. I
preach,
don't ever
man.
want to just assume. Um, how supportive has he been with it, or was it weird with that? Because it's kind of like, if you don't have the right person in your corner, I'm kind of saying, was he like supportive at the beginning? Because you were doing sales, I'm assuming, before you met him, so he knew what he was getting into.
Well, let's see. If we put the timeline on it, I've known the man since the week he graduated from high school. So, was I selling back then? If I thought about it, yes. Have I
You close
sold
to him?
the majority of the time that we've known each other? Yes. Did he have a choice? No. I think that how Adam would describe it is like the things he loves about me and the things he doesn't like about me are all part and parcel with my success because it's wildly human.
Hmm.
And sales is the most mathematical and the most human portion of a business operation. So it how could I be anything but? I will be honest. You said something that I may have to arm wrestle you about.
Okay.
Um, do you really believe that there are born salespeople?
Not born. I think you can learn. I think people have more, I wouldn't say it's sales acumen as human connection acumen because I look at sales as problem solving and helping people. That's just how my
Yep,
mind works with it.
that's
So
true.
I
That's
have
just
the
true.
ability, people have the ability to connect and relate. Some are better at it in the beginning and some are not. So you can
Yep.
train anyone to be a salesperson. And I'm going to say it this way: hit a quota, hit a process, hit a system. But there are going to be those exceptional people that can take that system, break it, spin it around, say, no, I don't like this, add it, switch it, and make it more because they have some innate gifts inside them. I wouldn't say it's just for sales. I would say it's more communication and people.
Absolutely. So they're going to smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh no, now they've turned into a salesperson. That is also a Gen X reference. For those of you who are listening, you're welcome. So I agree with you. I've been told so many times in my life, like, Katie, I just wasn't born like you. I wasn't born to be in sales. And I'll be honest, I kind of get a little offended. And I tell them that, like, I'm offended. I had to work. This was still work. I had to
Mhm.
work to be as good as I am at any given thing, just like you have to work. Nobody is born to be a thing. Your acumen, your EQ skills, right? Like your connection skills, if that's what it is, they don't even always lead you into a sales capacity. So this was absolutely a choice to be this, hone this, grow this in the same way you want to be the CEO of a Forbes top 10. So I don't know. That's what
Yeah.
I had to
No,
get your
I'm with you.
thoughts.
I like sales better because here's the thing. I deal with CEOs and CFOs all the time, and they have a lot more stress and a lot more responsibility. You know what I love
I
about
know.
sales? I sell you the stuff, and then I get someone else to do the work I don't want to do, like the admin, the implementation, all that crap. I don't have to do that. That makes me happy.
You know what, Joe? If I'm running, so I'm a CEO, right? So I'm
Mhm.
a boots on the ground salesperson and a CEO. I will tell you, it works the same as a CEO. If I do my job right as the CEO, I can afford to pay, throw money hither, thither, and yon, so I don't have to do the things I don't want to.
Yeah. Well,
Just
yeah, but
saying.
you own the business and you're at that point. But to get there, for most people building their way up into a CEO position, there's a lot of shit you got to do you don't want to do. Same thing with sales. It's
Yes.
just finding what it is you want and then risk tolerance. This is what I talk about a lot of times. A lot of people
Oh,
will be like this. Oh, I want to own my own business. Why do you want to own your business? Because I want time and freedom. Okay, you don't want to own your own business. You want time and freedom. What's the fastest route for you? For most people, it's actually working for someone else, doing sales, letting them send you to places like they did me, Santa Barbara, Palm Beach, paying to go to Hawaii, getting to do all this stuff, and not having to have all the responsibilities. Now, if you want to build a business, a legacy and stuff, you got a little bit of a different concept in my mind. I know a lot of really good salespeople that are business owners, but there's just what do you really want? Because you need to know that first.
absolutely. And I think that's the key to success in life, not even just business or sales. Like know who you are, know what you want. Be open to changing your mind, but be intentional about going after whatever that is in any given moment.
Yeah. Well, so how did you shift from you were working for someone and then you said, screw this, I don't want to do that anymore. And maybe it's because you were making them so much money. Because I've looked back and as a salesperson,
Oh,
I'm like,
don't do
I
that. Don't
just
ever do
made this
that.
company so much money.
I will
I'm
tell you,
like,
I've gotten
oh
so
my
many
God.
clients. That is so funny. So I've gotten so many clients because they're working in a sales capacity as a 1099 or under their own, tax ID
Mm,
number, but they're not the business owner. And what will bring them to me every time is when I say, "So have you ever looked at the other spreadsheet? Not this, not your spreadsheet of like your deals and the cash you're going to get, but the one that actually built that spreadsheet that shows how much money you've actually made." And I kid you not, they're like, they're gone. They'll call me back in 6 months. Dollars to donuts.
mm,
Okay, I can't do it anymore. I'm ill. I can't believe that this is what I'm doing. So then we have to have the conversation like you do. Okay, well, let's talk about what you really want because there's a whole slew of benefits that come with that other spreadsheet that you won't have if you decide to run that spreadsheet, right? So
mhm.
um, I found myself working for a guy that I didn't agree with integrally. Um, and it was at exactly that moment that one of my mentors in that space called and said, "Hey, I'm ready to start my own thing. I've been a smaller partner in a firm and now I want to go out and start my own joint. I can't imagine doing it with anybody other than you. You want to do this." So it was discontent with where I was and the opportunity to do something I was still killer at while owning the place. So,
No, I love that. Well, I think it comes down to super high. I'm going to put super high level people here. So we got to go conquer a giant, but once we kill the giant, we get bored. Like I've done so many different sales jobs, and once I crushed it, like I was the top closer, like I mentioned, for a different company, and I was winning like 4 President's Circles awards in a row, and I was miserable and bored because it was like da 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 da. So I took a different role with a different company so I could talk to higher level people. But then I also started my own sales pitching. It's like, well, you know what? Maybe I'll go do this. And then I started getting into startups and others. I'm like, oh, I like this better. But I think what the problem is that people say, oh, if you just click a funnel and don't put the work and the time and the effort, 'cause I want to come back to what you mentioned, the skill level, because you've been in sales probably a little bit longer than I have. And this is 20 years of hard work. First 10 years were shit. Like I'd have a good month and a bad month. I'd do good, then I'd do bad. I'd learn something, then everything changes. Then the internet came along. It used to be on the phone, cold call, cold call, cold call.
who
Then
you
it was
telling?
email cold calls. Yeah. And now it's like, oh, AI is going to take over. AI is not going to take over. There's not enough human connection. Can they make it kind of feel that way? I had a guy go, oh, that was my AI bot. I go, I know that was your AI bot. That's why I replied to it so I could talk to the human.
Yeah. So what's the question? I'm like, I agree with everything you just said. All that's true. AI is not going to kill us. Cold calling skills are still awesome. Old school scripts are still awesome. Back in the day, everybody, you used to have to, like, we would have tick sheets. Like, how many
Mhm.
calls did you make? How many connections did you make from those calls? How far in the process did you get with each one of those calls? What stopped those calls? And I think to some extent, the data today is assumed. So if
Mhm.
you're a, a kid straight out of college going into a sales gig now, your sales force is going to tell you these are all of your answers. I would still say that there is benefit to you finding out what those answers are for you and overlaying the company's data on top of that. That's really the Venn diagram of like your secret sauce, the company's secret sauce, the client conversations. And in the middle of that Venn diagram is really where you're going to win if
Mhm.
like thinking about how we can do it differently. I think today big companies take a lot of the humanity out of the selling, right? So we think of it a
Hmm.
lot as like an assembly line and you're just churning out salespeople and they look exactly the same. I'll tell you the whole reason why I feel I was ever successful in my industries or in my spaces is because I was 100%, 180 degrees different. I
Hmm.
went into staffing. When you think of staffing and staffing sales women, they all look a certain way, they all act a certain way. I came into the industry like a decade later. I was already married. So I'd be the one who would talk serious business and be like, rock on, definitely go on those golf challenges and scrambles. Go to the fifth hole, get your Bloody Mary on, but give me all of the jobs to fill,
Hmm.
right? I had a manager comment one day because how their office was set up is like you could see the cars coming in. And he was like, "Oh, look, Katie, there's your competition." I said, "Oh, which one?" And they're like, "That Porsche Cayenne." I said, "Oh, that's great." He goes, "So what did you drive?" And I said, "Well, I drive a Nissan Pathfinder." I said, "You got to wonder how much they're charging you for the staff that they give you, huh?" And so I would just, because I'm not going to drive my Porsche to my clients. Like, you don't need
Right.
to know
Right.
that about me.
Yep.
Although there are people who are going to buy you because you drive a Porsche. That's just never been who I am. So this is a conversation about how you can rock your own differences. You don't have to
Hmm.
look like the guy next to you to be the A plus player on the team. Like, rock
Yeah.
yourself, own yourself, and know your people. Because you better believe that as soon as he said that, his whole team was like, "Doe burn." And he looked around and he was like, "Well, shit, maybe I'm thinking about the wrong stuff."
Yep. What, but you mentioned something else there. Distinguish yourself, build your brand, whether you own your business or within a business. Make sure you can connect. And when someone gives you a rebuttal, a thing, have a rebuttal. And it
Yep.
wasn't like, oh, it was like, I don't care. This is what I'm driving. Like I tell people this all the time. I don't care about cars. I have a paid off 2017 RAV4 because I like it, but I'll spend a shit ton of money on a trip. We're going to Hawaii in 2 weeks. I'll throw money down there. But cars, it's just not my thing. But the other thing that, and I want your thoughts on this. When I talk to business owners, CEO, it doesn't matter what level, like we're talking here is how I talk to them. I don't do the whole "you're better than me." I make them think that's my business. Is that kind of been your approach? Like literally, I will make fun of the, not make fun of, but I'll like get them to laugh and joke and just get them to relax on the call so it doesn't feel like it's this is my sales process. This is
Right.
my stapler.
Right. So I think it's all going to be about connection first. I'm always me in every conversation. I have an ex-business partner who was working really hard to give me a backhanded compliment that I thought was amazing. So he and I were working closely together in the beginning of the business that we started, and he got to see how I would run meetings and how I would connect with people. And we came out of a meeting where I happened to be talking about motorcycles, of which I do not own one, but my bonus dad did. And so the concept of do you do American and go Harley or you crotch rocket and Yamaha, like the whole kit and caboodle of all the conversations and everything I knew about motorcycles, while connecting wildly with this high-powered CEO. And we walk out of the room. My ex-business partner said, "You're such a chameleon. Like you turn into whatever you are in the room." And he was trying to make it seem so awful. And I was like, "Yeah, it really sucks that you can't
Hmm.
do that. It really
Yep.
sucks that you aren't willing to dig into because none of it is manufactured. None of it is manufactured. This is the depth and breadth of my life as far as it goes. If I don't have anything to connect with someone on, I can't imagine who that human is. But if I don't, then I'm just going to say, wow, we really need to work on getting things in common because it sounds like our lives don't intersect anywhere. How strange is that?"
Hmm.
So, having this component of like just owning your own shit and your own, like your own self, none of that was bullshit to me. All of that was
Hmm.
real. He was just trying to make it feel super, super small when
Hmm.
I think it's like the most amazing thing.
Oh, it is. What happens though is when you rise up, and here's another thing y'all need to
Oh,
remember. When you become the top, when you do well, people will get jealous because they can't do what you do. And when you master it, because I've said this millions of times, I could be a comedian. Like in high school, I could. If I was at the jocks, I was a jock. If I was the theater people, because I'm a theater guy, I
yeah.
was in theater. Didn't matter what it was, I could just adapt. like I changed dialects even. I had to catch myself on that because sometimes I just get talking like whatever group I'm in, I mimic. And it's not even I'm like it just happens.
Yep.
So I get that vibe. Oh, now see, I do have a little HDHD, ADHD. I said HDHD. I don't know what HDHD is, but ADHD, I do know what that is. But you have a bunch of books that I keep catching in the back of you.
Yeah.
Like I've read Profit First. I've
Yep.
read some of the other ones, but of those books there, are any of them like your, or what is your go-to sales book? Meaning like if someone came to you and said, "Hey, I want to be a badass salesperson," what are you going to come up and hit them with?
Okay, hold on. So let's see if I can do this. Okay. So see, that little shelf up there is entirely dedicated to a guy that I dig. His name is Jeffrey Gitomer. And
Mm-hmm.
so if there is someone who is looking to start, oh, look, now I'm all blurry. But if there's
Or
somebody
you're
who's
fine.
looking to start, I'm totally going to send them to the Little Red Book of Selling. I had been selling for, I don't know, 15 years before I ever got to meet Jeff or know who he was and how he talks about like puking, the circular file, which is your trash can, and how salespeople just have this tendency to puke out all their stuff. I was just like, you're so right, man. Like, it's just so true. So I just dig his style of writing. Chet Holmes wrote a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine, and I teach
Mm-hmm.
out of Gino Wickman's Traction. So there are a ton of books. But I mean, I also love the no asshole rule. Like, if you're creating a company, let's talk about culture. It
Mm-hmm.
just depends on what you're looking for. I've got the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster because it really is, and it's a great book. All of them give you bits and pieces, right? And part of the reason why I think I ended up becoming a business coach, even though I am a salesperson, is because one, I know a ton about business. I grew up in that
Mm-hmm.
space. I've now owned 3 startups to success. And when we take a look at the operations and the functions of a business, big or small, the one operation of the whole joint that is the most like being a CEO is a salesperson. All the way from we have to run our own expenses, so we've got our own little P&L running all the time. Like we understand the cost of money. It is most likely that we're part of the organization that understands the profit on any given deal and what built up the cost of it. So all of these are higher level business functions, all whittled down into like one little tiny salesperson who's going out to try and make deals. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's how I came to it. And what I love is seeing when salespeople try to become business owners because that's a whole different ball of wax than when anybody else tries to become a salesperson. There's nothing that will get a salesperson quieter than when they start to own their own business because we're all used to repping somebody else's face, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're the person who's going to make this deal for you, but it's somebody else's something. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's this intrinsic crazy thing that gets like this like electrical that happens when a salesperson is now repping themselves for what they want to do.
Have you ever found, because I think I've seen people do this where they're great at selling for someone else, but then when it's their stuff, it's like, and how do you help people with that? Because a lot of people on, like we were talking before, are either sales professionals, first-time business owners, or entrepreneurs that listen to this show. So how do you help them? Because like I can sell all day long, but like when you go to talk about yourself, like, when it's your business.
Well, so here's the thing. Why do people buy? You're salespeople. All you sales professionals who are where they identify with what Joe just said. Why do your people buy? Is it really because it's you? Or is it because they're looking for a result? You're a salesperson. Talk about the results. Talk about the solution. In addition to doing the thing that you do better than anybody on earth, which is connect at a human level. People buy from people that they know, like, and trust. We all know this. And if you've got somebody who likes you, then it's literally, it doesn't even have to be about you. You know how you communicate about you? You know how you let a potential client know who you are is by preaching about the results that you provide for them. It has very little to do with you. I feel like the outside world totally gets sales wrong. Salespeople will identify with this. They think the outside world thinks that salespeople are the most egotistical beings. All we care about is being number one at the top. We're the rainmaker. We're the ones that make it happen. Like whatever their assumption is about the joint. I have never found that to be true, and I've sold $150 million of crap, right? It's
Mhm.
always about somebody else. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I like the paycheck? Hell yes. Do I love it when my name is number one on the board and I get that beautifully crystal engraved award? Absolutely. Yay for
Yep.
me. But what that symbolizes is all the people that I got to do the right thing by at the
Hmm.
end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So if you are a salesperson who identifies with that, then you're going to be able to put your own ego aside and be like, you know what? It's not about me. I mean, I have been doing what I'm doing, and the expertise that I bring to you is decades old. And the reason why I chose to leave my multi six-figure gig is because this is just my burning passion. But this is what I'm going to be able to provide you with. You said you have this problem, and I have the answer for you. So don't make it so much about you. It's
Hmm.
never really about you.
Wait, now you're making my mind go down the path. So someone starts, they're a salesperson, they start doing their business, they're leaving their six-figure cushy job that they can do, ching year after
Where,
year. Most people can't do that. To possibly only in the beginning make 50 to 60, but so that they can make millions. How do
yes.
you help them navigate that? Again, we were talking about risk factors, so I think that falls into it. But how do you help people navigate from being a salesperson to running their own business?
So it's different with every person. You would know this, right? Like none of us are created equal. But I think that statistically or on average, how you get someone, it's literally just an ownership. You actually show them what it is about business ownership that is exactly the same as their cushy 250K gig, right? Now, and look, we're talking about all this. I'm like, huh, maybe I need to go back into selling. I don't. But it does hit me every single time. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those days. That was so fun sometimes. Um, so you just show them the similarities. Part of the reason why there's any kind of fear around the whole thing is because it's new. I've been in sales my whole life. What do I know about being a business owner? What do I know about being an entrepreneur? I mean, what do I even call myself? You can look on LinkedIn and hear like chief connector. Who pays a chief connector? Like, what is that job title? Our worlds are very static. We know the playbook. I've done it for years. I can do it in my sleep. I printing money while we sleep is what we do when we get to our tipping point and we're good salespeople. That's just part and parcel of the deal. And I'm putting all of that aside to do something that I don't know if it's going to work. Here's the thing. If you already know, if you can say you have competition, if you go to start a business and you can say, oh, I have so much competition, love it. Because your opposite of that is, I have no competition. And that is further away from any dollar you've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
As a salesperson, you know what competition looks like. You don't need to play with the big boys. Don't think that you now belong to an industry. You don't. You own your joint. You are the industry. So while there are industry statistics and standards that you can use, that is all outside of who you are. If you run a business, as a solopreneur or just starting outwards, just you, and you try to run your business like Hewlett Packard, it's not going to work. So just know that. Be okay with that. And Joe, one of the things you talked about is risk and risk management. Salespeople are the riskiest people I know, and we're the least riskiest people we know. Like we bet on ourselves because we know we'll
Hmm.
deliver. Like because if we would go to the map for like I must deliver this, whether it's the mortgage payment or a trip to Hawaii for your
Hmm.
wife. Like this is so I'm resting on myself. I'm betting on myself. Entrepreneurship is no different. So the risk factors that are this, they're kind of the same, especially if you've ever held a commission only gig. Commission only is wildly like running your own business.
Would do you recommend that they do that first? Sometimes I've told people, like, I'm not sure if you're there yet. Have you done commission only? Because if you've always had a base and had a
A
something
cushion,
to hold
a
on
little,
to,
a little cushion, little
a little
cushion.
something. If I have a bad week, I can do this. If you do that, it's still sales, and you can still make really good money. But
So here's what I would say. If you, it's not a bad path. And you and I both know that if you love a thing, you can sell it easier. So if you're going to enter into a commission only job of just to see if you can sell commission only, but it's not something that you have any passion for, you're just trying to see if you can do the skill set, it's not going to work. It would be
right.
easier for you to just go into business for yourself and like go try it out. What I will say is that if you are smart, sales professionals who are potentially thinking about becoming business owners, if you do it the right way, you're making great money right now. You're making killer money. If you're thinking you want to start your own business, stash some of that away. Instead of
Mhm.
going to Hawaii, put that in your business bank account, fund yourself, like give yourself a cushion, give yourself a cushion.
Mhm.
Um, because you can. Like, not everybody can. There are accidental entrepreneurs all the time. I told you I had an ex-business partner. I had just paid into the business, right? Like, and then, because I didn't know what I didn't know, after generating a $6 million run rate in under 3 years for a brand new office, like, I didn't have a job.
Mhm.
So I had nothing to fund my business with other than like all of my hopes and dreams and my expertise and my potential ability to make a friend, like that's all I
Yep.
could do. So, pay it forward to yourself. Be
Mhm.
smart. Salespeople are also super quick. We make decisions quickly because we have to based on coming up with creative ideas on how to make fits for people. Um, don't be super quick about it. Take, sock away 25K every quarter to fund your business. You can start your business with 100K and you're going to be so much further ahead than someone who trips into owning a business.
No, I love that. Or even, I want your thoughts on this. Even hybrid it, start a side hustle,
I
a
love a
side
hybrid.
business.
I love a hybrid. Yes. Look, there is because here's the things that you get to do. When you're a hybrid business, do you feel like you have to have a fully born brand and all of the perfect marketing and all of
Nope.
the things that people tell you you should have? No, you're a hybrid business. You do this a little bit on the side, so it's only going to look so perfect. Fan effing tastic, right? That's brilliant. Love it. So then you reverse engineer. I want this business to make me X amount of revenue, top line, gross sales, not net, per year. Reverse engineer what that has to look like. And then you've literally created the plan for you outing yourself of your business.
Mhm.
I've helped hundreds of transitioning business owners because it's such this sweet spot, right? It is such the sweet spot of being able to, what it's really hard to do, Joe. The hardest part of my job is having to say no to people who are too broke, either in mindset or in their bank account, so that I can't help them, right? I can't help you if you are literally so stressed out that all you can think about is feeding your kids. Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't be investing in anything if that's where
Mhm.
you're at. So when you're doing a transition or a hybrid or stocking away cash, you're making it so that you aren't starting your business under those auspices. And that's going to give you a higher chance of success.
Well, I think so many times people get caught up in their head. I'd honestly rather deal with someone with a messed up head than a broke mindset because I can teach that. I can help you with your mindset a little bit more. Like we can work through it. But if you just have a, for lack of a better term, poverty mindset or don't have any funds, I can't really do much with until you're ready to actually invest and
Or
move
until you
forward.
can afford it, right? So that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, go back to having a job. It's
Hmm.
okay. Don't forget, like, none of this is, our lives aren't hockey sticks, people. No matter how
Yeah.
much we want to say that that's what our sales stats look like or whatever, there is
Hmm.
nothing about our lives that's just a straight up trajectory. So if you got to go up super, super fast and then you had to take a moment out and live on that mesa, it's okay. It is all right. You can't get it wrong.
Well, and the thing I think people don't realize is owning a business is still a job. You still have tasks, you still have stuff you have to do. It's not like I own a business, so money just flows into me. That's not how that works. So I think
People
people
still
get that
don't
caught up.
chase you down the street going, Joe, 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 wait, here's my checks. Joe, here's my money. Here's my hundreds of
But
dollars. Put this in
I
your
made
bank
a
account.
funnel. I made a funnel. I'm one funnel away. I made a website.
Okay, you guys,
Sorry.
all salespeople, we're not going to get into the larger conversation of marketing, quote unquote, versus sales
Yeah.
or marketing and sales. But what I am going to tell you is if you are looking to start your own business, please try not to fall into the trap of marketing is my savior. Like, don't forget where you come from, people. Marketing is created based on your sales. Marketing is best when it is fed by sales answers. Marketing is a big, huge Mad Lib. Sales has to fill in the blanks. If you were going to say, marketing is my end all be all, you are still wrong. Like,
Unless you're
especially at the
competing
beginning.
against me and Katie. If you're competing against me and Katie, marketing is all you need to do. You're one funnel away. Don't do anything else. But
Use a
for the
lot of
people that want to
AI.
win,
Pay
yep.
attention to your SEO. Reels and stories are your friends.
I have to go on a thing there because I run a podcast. I have done sales coaching, do all that stuff. I am probably one of the most consistent people of posting every day, every day, every day. But it has to be with intention. It has to have an end goal because I think so many times people hear one part of something, and I want your thoughts on this. They do really good at that, but they don't do the whole thing. So I always say marketing brings them in, sales welcomes them home. Like you said, it
Yes.
fills that gap. You can't have both. I get in arguments online with all the marketing guys trying to say it's just marketing, it's just marketing. Yeah, what of all the money you're letting walk in and out, in and out? Because if you don't have a customer journey to capture them, what are you doing? You're just getting a bad brand.
You wait, hold on a second. So you actually have marketing people who tell you that it's all marketing?
Yeah, they say that you don't need sales. You can do AI and you just have a funnel. And if you have the right marketing, you run enough people through. But again, we talked about this before. Corporate mindset of screw as many people as possible so that you can get paid. Sales mindset, which I'm going to break a paradigm here, helping as many people as possible so that they get paid so you get paid. That's my
It's not
theory.
breaking a paradigm in my life. So, one, anybody who is paying attention to all of Joe's stuff, I have a challenge for you. I challenge you. And if you can name who that is, you'll get a prize. Um, I want you to go to those people that are heckling Joe, the marketing guys who say it's only marketing. And I want you to find out the company that they work for. And then if you work for them as a salesperson, I want you to go get another job because you're not appreciated enough, first and foremost. Second of all, I want the CEO of that company to know that their marketing firm, their marketing department thinks it's all marketing. Which means that they probably have a culture problem because I know of no company that can afford to treat their sales teams like they don't matter. Let's be very clear because CEOs should know it's not all marketing. Now, this also brings up a really big difference between the concept of services-based, consultative, relationship-based selling and product-based selling. If you own a
Mhm.
Shopify and how people buy you is by hitting a button, great, all marketing, whatever. I'm not talking about product sales at all. Product sales is a whole different game. It's a whole different thing. I have done it. And it's vastly different. And even when I sold product, it was still relationship based,
Mhm.
right? So
What about the
keep
coaching industry? And I want you to dig more because this is where I hear it the most in the coaching industry. You just put your funnel up, people will come and do their thing. You can just do it, but you don't have to do any sales. You don't even have to get on a sales call. My marketing's so good, Katie, you just send them a video. They're just going to magically watch the video. You don't have to talk to them. You just send them a video, get your three people. Oh, wait, that's not one, but that's still what the sales coaching marketing gurus are telling you.
There should be no sales guru that you listen to that tells you that your entire success is based on marketing. Like, listen to like, pay attention, people. And if you buy that, then you just fell for a marketing trick. Congratulations. And good luck getting your results out of that. As a matter of fact, I end up talking to a lot of you because you're like, this was crap, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're right, it was. And it's your fault. You like listen to what the people are saying. Um, Funnels are important. Funnels are important for a specific place in your business. Like, have you made 100K yet? Like, how are you going to build a funnel? You haven't delivered 100K worth of your services to somebody. You don't even know what the Mad Lib of your funnel is going to be. You don't know why the first 10 people bought you, much less why the next 10 people are going to buy you. So I would tell you, you've got a little bit more work to do. There is no easy button. There's no easy button. Marketing is not an easy button. It requires work. Passive income is not passive. You have to work your ass off to get to a place where passive income can actually become a thing for you. Sales is the easiest path to get to all of your answers, and it's still not easy. Like, name a thing in your life that came with ease that was worth doing something. Business and your paycheck aren't it. So I don't know what to tell you. Quit buying the hype. Staples has an easy button. Fantastic. I would say good for them. You can buy pens and paper and it's easy. Yay. You want high level services, you want answers to your problems, you need big complex solutions. There's no easy button for that. Go self, go figure it out.
I love that. I love that. So
It
we're
makes me
not
so
done.
mad. That makes me
I
mad.
know. Oh, it does. I have literally gotten into arguments online. Then I'm like, wait a minute. I'm just wasting time. And I just cut bait because I'm like, that's another thing you need to learn to do. If someone
Troll,
is saying something
troll.
stupid all the time, get rid of them. You don't need them. It just works out well. We're not done, but I want people because they're probably like, well, where can I find Katie Nelson? Where can I find Sales Uprising? Where can I get this? So tell people where we can find you.
You can find me on LinkedIn at Sales Uprising. You can find me on LinkedIn at Katie Nelson, the Sales Catalyst. You can find me on Facebook at LinkedIn or at Sales Uprising. You can find me on Facebook at Katie Nelson. You can find me on Instagram at Sales Uprising. See a pattern? You can find me on YouTube at Sales Uprising. You know what you need? You need to get you a Sales Uprising. Type in Sales Uprising. There's no other Sales Uprising, people.
I love it. I love it. So I want to shift just a little bit because we've given them a taste, but I need them to come into your world. So this is all the taste you get right now. We're going to shift for now, but we'll have Katie come back on later on. We'll talk about some more stuff. But you mentioned this, and now I kind of like to have this little different thing. You're in theater. My daughter's big into theater. She actually just applied or tried out for Rocky Picture Horror Show. She got to the finals, didn't make it, but she tried out. I don't care. She tried out. She's also in theater at college. She's been doing a lot of cool things. Um, what what do you think? Do you think that actually has helped you with acting, or not with acting, with selling? Because sales is acting in a lot of ways. Like you said, I had to get into character. Do you do that when you do sales? That's where my mind was going. I know that
Right.
was a long
So,
question for a simple one.
no, not at all. I was with you the whole time. And congratulations to her. Tell her to try again. Um,
Oh, she
try
is. She's
again.
all over it.
So, do I think that sales is acting? No. Do I think that at least it's not acting for me because every single thing that I portray is real for me.
Hmm.
And it helps that it's what the other person is like, how the other person hears, right? So, when we're talking about EQ and mirroring and all of these different techniques. You learn those in drama, you learn them in theater. I think that the biggest thing that I was taught was through improv. I'm told often, Katie, I know you're a coach. You know how I know you're a coach? I'm like, no, I have no idea how you know I'm a coach. Because of your use of the word and. You never say but. And I said, we never say never. Uh, I do say the word and a lot because however and but are so dismissive. And when you're
Hmm.
in sales, you're not looking to dismiss anyone. You're looking to include their objections or their concerns or their challenges or their worries or their happiness and their excitement. You want it to be an inclusive thing. And I think that that's what drama, that's one of the biggest things I learned from theater. The other one would be to be very aware of you. So in theater, you have to be aware of where you are on stage. You have to be aware of you in conjunction with another actor, like where you are, your marks on the stage. So you're very aware of your physical presence and in touch with your internal vibe of the moment, like your feelings, your not feelings, your exhaustion, your excitement, your happiness, like all of it. And that being able to be aware of that and have that work for me in my professional capacity, I would probably attribute that to theater.
Hmm.
Go,
No, I
Mr.
love it.
Miller, Tempe High School. Love you.
Nice. So next question here, because my mind's thinking this way. Energy, vibe of the room. Do you match the customer or do you bring them up? What is your strategy with that?
He who has the most energy wins.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to
True.
say it any
No, no,
different.
no, no, no. I love that. I do. Like you brought my energy up. Like when I came in, I always try to see, okay, where we're at. Because in a podcast, you kind of want to get the flow and see how the conversation's going to go. And we got talking, like I said, before I hit record. I'm like, crap, I need to hit record because the energy brought me up. And I do this for a living. Like this is what I do. So like when I see someone do it very well, because you came in, and you're just like, I could tell you were prepared and ready to go. So, what preparation do you do before a call? Because a lot of times, some people don't prep much, some people do prep much. What is your thoughts on that?
I think that when you're newer in your sales capacity, more research can't hurt you. You're happy to say, so I've looked you up, I've read about you, I was paying attention to you. The more tenured you are in your sales position, sometimes that can keep you from finding the good stuff faster, right? Like if I read about your profile online I'm going to be paying attention to the narrative that you want to put forward when all I really give a shit about is connecting with you personally. So
Mhm.
I'm not going to tell you I looked you up online. I'm going to say, yep, I absolutely took a look at the company. I took a cursory look at your LinkedIn or whatever, but I would rather hear directly from you because
Mhm.
otherwise I have my own assumptions. And you know assumptions, Joe.
Yep.
Number one rule of sales, assumption kills all deals. So I can't afford to assume shit. I literally, every time I'm on a call, I'm dumb. Does that make sense? All I need you to fill me up. I need you to educate me. It's not about me. It's everything is about you. So I'm going to ask you question after question after question after question. I'm going to ask you three questions deep about one answer you give me. This is the good stuff. And if I research too much, I feel like whether it's my old age or I have, oh, they look like this, so it's going to be like this. That doesn't do me so well. So I don't do a ton of research anymore.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like I will have a few questions, but my rule of thumb is I want them speaking on average 70% of the time. So I
Yep.
know what I know. I'm like, I'm here to help you, Katie. I need to know about you. What are you doing with your business? What are your initiatives? When do you want to do it? And then what I love to do, because I want to know your thoughts on this. How do you, because I know a lot of salespeople will do the presentation, do all the stuff, and then assume a timeline and all. How do you get the customer to tell you when they want it to happen instead of just pushing them to make it happen? Because we know if the customer agrees, they're going to do it more than if I'm pushing because I need a paycheck on Friday, but they really aren't looking to do this for a while.
Yeah. So I talk about that way, way earlier probably than most people. So, for example, all the way in the front of your relationship, when you're doing your qualifying, I'm going to ask you what your timeline is. And then I'm going to say, great. Or they're going to say, why are you asking me this? And I'm going to say, well, because there's things we need to do before we start work, right? Before this. So,
Hmm.
for example, in professional services and staffing, I used to be a TS, SCI, SDVOSB, or TS cleared SDVOSB. If you guys know what this means, it means my facility had the ability to place top secret cleared people on government
Oh,
contracts. I know, wildly complicated. You want to talk about selling, you want to talk about humanity. Mwah! Okay, so if you want somebody start on August 1st, I have to pick up their clearance. I have to give them their background investigation. I have to,
hmm.
right? So I literally have to reverse engineer the whole process for them just to educate my prospect on what it would look like to work with anyone in my industry, not even just me. Nobody can like make all that go away. Those are industry and government standards. That is true. There is that thing for every industry. So if they say, I don't want to start until August 1st, I'm going to say, great, I'm so glad we're having this conversation now. Ugh, it's June 15th. We're pushing a deadline. We're going to need to make this decision quickly. If it looks like I'm the right fit for you, are you going to be ready to say yes?
Hmm.
So I asked them
Yep.
that way,
Yeah.
way before.
I love that because once they do that, now you can hold them accountable to it. That's the part where people get messed up because, especially in the B2B space, what you were doing there,
Yeah.
in my mind at least, if you don't get them to give a date, now you're hoping a prayer. And then when you go to forecast here, whoever it is, or if it's your own business, you're forecasting to yourself, I'm going to have a $20 million a month. And it's like, I had a
Baby, I'm
what?
so
Yeah.
sorry you fell into that trap. Well, so it's also no different than budget. You guys
Mhm.
are, all of you that are listening, of course, ask for budgets like as your third question, right? Like nobody's gonna wait. If you're new, you don't know. If you're new, you may get nervous about it. But this is not an imagine for those of you who hate the budget question or even hate the timeline question, this is what I'm gonna put forward to you. If your prospect is in talks with anybody else and
Mhm.
everybody else is asking these questions and you don't, how do you think they look at you? Are
Mhm.
you a smart guy? Are you a not so smart guy? I got to be honest. If I'm the expert and I'm supposed to be the one who's educating about all of these things and filling in some blanks and I'm not doing it, then I'm just an asshole. Like,
Mhm.
I don't have, again, it's not about you. I don't have time to let my internal fear about somebody else's ideas about dollars and cents or timelines get in the way of what they actually need. Because we all know that it's not timelines or dollars. If you have a problem,
Mhm.
it doesn't really, it costs you money to have that problem.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
costs you time to have that problem. Like, get over yourself, ask the hard questions. You know what? For those of you who are worried about your challenge is to ask about money at least 3 times in your qualification process. Like, eradicate that horrible feeling out of your body until it's comfortable.
Mm. No, well, I love that. I like recently again asked a person on a project, "What's your budget on this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's 250,000." When they told me what the project was in my mind calculating, I thought it was like 100,000, but they had 250,000. I would have left money on the table if I would have assumed with my pocketbook in that case. I've sold bigger deals than that, but it was just like, "Oh, that's your budget. Great.
Are you
Now I know
kidding?
what to work with."
This is where you also have the ability to say, okay, fantastic. So I just want to walk you through this. This is what you could get for 100K. I love that your budget is 250 because now we
Hmm.
can really deliver to the level of excellence that you can afford, which looks like X, Y, and Z additionally, right? So when you said I could have left money on the table, I
Hmm.
never think of it that way. I always think, oh, I can deliver even more to them,
Hmm.
right? If we're not being money grubbing whores.
Yes.
Like
No,
we're
I
just
got you. I'm still gonna say it's one of those things. So I always put the customer first. I will never, I actually have
yes.
left a job that was making a ton of money because I found out the wells were not producing after a guy gave me 850,000 that I got paid 10% on. That was the other thing you were talking about. I made this company 850,000 and I got 85. I was upset about the 85. I was like, wait a minute, I just sold 850,000 and I got 10%.
You looked at
Just
the
putting
other
that little
spreadsheet. You looked at the other
I
spreadsheet.
did. I did. I'm like, if I can produce this for them, I can produce this for me. That's where I think that's the shift that people need to understand and get set up.
It's
But
funny, I never made that shift. So I'm crying in a little ball on my couch going, "Oh, poor me. I would just had my favorite couple, like I'm bleeding my company colors. I loved my company, blah, blah, blah. And now I don't, what am I gonna do?" And a week later I had to grab my cojones and say, "Honey, I think that I'm gonna start my third business." I was so nervous. I was like, oh, he's gonna die. Because you guys have to understand when you're in the beginning of your business, you're in business. Like, I'm not cooking dinner when I'm starting a business. I'm not
mhm,
even making the bed. I'm not doing the laundry. And he's already been through that twice.
mhm.
So now I'm about to tell him you get to make your own dinner again for a minimum of a quarter. So I was a little nervous about it. And what he said is, oh, finally. Katie, do you realize how much money you make other people?
Oh, I love that. So talk about this, having the right person in your corner. I mentioned I've been married 24 years, you've been married 22 years, and having the right person in your corner that, and I'm not even gonna say balances you out, but supports you in the ways where you need support is if I didn't have the wife I had, I probably would not. I know there's no chance. I would not be where I'm at today.
Preach. Like there's no other way to say it. We don't talk about it enough, I don't think. I don't know that it has to be a spouse, right? I don't know that it has to be someone that lives with you. I think it could be your really good Judy. Like it could be a good girlfriend, it could
Hmm.
be a good guy friend, it could be a wingman. Like it doesn't have to be your partner in your house, but it's got to be somebody who totally gets you and understands your daily uplift.
Hmm.
You know, one of the things, everybody in sales knows that the rest of the company may or may not like the sales team. They may have a culture where the sales team just gets to go out and play and drink at bars and like play golf all the time and like, and we're sitting here under these fluorescent lights. And so we're looked at kind of a certain way. And that's not really our life. Yeah, we're there, we're playing golf. We might not like golf, but we're on the golf field
Hmm.
club.
Of course,
Course.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I play golf all the time. I used to play golf. So we're
I
on the golf.
played golf once in 6 years. I'm with you.
That's hilarious. I did a challenge and then I decided I would definitely work the 19th hole. And then I just said, you know what, give me your requirements. Like you go play and I'll just work because that makes me feel better. Um, you know, you maybe you're at a bar and maybe you're sober, but that's where your clients want you to be. So it's not all fun and games. It's not all glamour. It's not all, sure, absolutely. If we work for large corporations, can we take trips? Yep. Do those trips include our children? Do those like, is that right? Like,
Nope.
there are things that people don't see. So it takes a lot of energy organically to do what high performing salespeople do. And you need someone to understand what that looks like, especially for when you just want to be quiet. I know that there are those of you who are listening who every single person in your life tells you you're an extrovert. And at the end of really long weeks, you can go all weekend without speaking.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that that's a good or healthy balance. I'm just saying I know where you're at. We've all been there. And if we're right, and if we're paying attention, we're working on balancing that out. But it just having support of someone who knows what you do, the cycle, right? Because everything in sales is cyclical, the peaks and the valleys. Like they understand why it kills you that you didn't get that deal and why how it's so painful that you have to go get the next one. Like it's super important. And we just don't talk about it enough.
I love that. So, last question on this, and I'm going to caveat with this. Yes, you can go on business trips that they send you on, but they tell you what to do. It's not as fun. That's why I like making my money and just going where I want to go instead of, oh, you get to go to Palm Beach, but you have to do this business meeting. You can only go on the excursion at this time. You get this. It's not all the fun and games.
But the office doesn't know that, right? Unless you're the admin
No.
who booked that trip, unless you're the travel agent
Yeah.
of the company that booked that trip, everybody thinks you're just at the bar drinking and hula-ing or whatever, whatever. You know?
Well, yeah, because that's what Hollywood puts on. But yeah, it's not that way. Do you find, I find most, I always say most, of the best salespeople really are introverts?
So, statistically speaking, let's talk about the statistics. I quote these to my clients all the time. Introverts sell 52% better than extroverts. I think all of us who know the definition of introvert and extrovert would understand that that's because introverts like to listen.
Hmm.
Um, and so I don't know if I've ever even looked at it that way, but probably.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't even say that is because I used to think I was an extrovert and I am definitely an introvert. I get to a certain point, I'm done. Like we'll go on trips and because I've sold enough in the companies, I would just leave when I'm done. If I'm at a thing, I'll get to a point like, I'm done. And they'll look like, what? I'm done. I'm going home. I'm going to go to my hotel. I'm going to go to my office. I'm done and I need to walk. I need to be left alone. Let me think because I have to recharge. So
Yeah,
that's, that was just
absolutely.
there.
I think we have the ability to, I think I would probably be an ambivert. The
Mhm.
older that I get, I have more introverted tendencies.
Same, same.
And introverted tendencies actually are more beneficial to CEO work because your CEO time where you're doing your creative things on behalf of the growth of your business are wildly important. And yet I love humans. So I will
Mhm.
always want to be involved with them, having conversations with them, getting to know them.
Anything have that we missed that we haven't touched on that you want to leave our audience with? I know we went a lot of different ways here.
I was going to say, I yes, I think there are entire universes of sales that we did not cover. So I fully expect you to invite me back, and we're going to leave the audience with
Yes.
that. If you
Awesome.
guys liked this exchange between me and Joe, like pummel him with, "Yo, bring Katie back. WTF? Where's she at, bro?"
I love it. I love it. So, like she said, here's the challenge. Pummel me with it. Share this episode. Do what you need to get me to get her back on because I've had a blast talking to Katie. And if you don't want to talk to her, we're friends now. So I get all the wisdom and knowledge anyway. But if you want to be involved in the
Yay.
conversation next time, share the episode, like it, and until next time, go do something with the knowledge we gave you. Don't just be a consumer, be an actual implementer of what you're trying to accomplish. And if you fail, it's okay. We'll support you. We'll pick you back up and say, go back in there because every bat gets you closer and every swing doesn't have to be a home run. Until next time,
Preach.
have a beautiful day.